Welcome back to the channel, coin collectors and treasure hunters. Today, we're uncovering two of the rarest and most valuable United States Washington $quarter coins that could be hiding in everyday pocket change. One of these coins might be worth far more than its face value, so stay with us until the end. You won't want to miss these incredible discoveries. First coin 1953, Jefferson Nickel from the United States, carries an understated appearance that has fooled generations of people into overlooking it. Yet behind its familiar portrait lies a fascinating chapter of American coinage that still captures the imagination of collectors today. Designed by Felix Schlag, the coin features Thomas Jefferson facing left, while the reverse proudly displays his beloved home, Monticello, a symbol of history, architecture, and national heritage. Produced during a decade when America was embracing post-war prosperity, the 1953 nickel quietly entered circulation without fanfare, becoming part of everyday commerce, while a handful of exceptional examples began a journey toward collector fascination decades later. The year 1953 represents an interesting moment for Jefferson Nickels because millions entered circulation, yet surprisingly few survived in remarkable condition after years of spending, pocket wear, and constant handling. Countless nickels were tossed into jars, cash drawers, and forgotten piggy banks, collecting scratches, stains, and dull surfaces that gradually erased the sharp details originally struck by the mint. That ordinary beginning is exactly what makes extraordinary survivors so captivating today, because finding one with crisp details can feel like uncovering a forgotten piece of American history hiding in plain sight. Collectors often become captivated by the tiny details visible on an outstanding 1953 Jefferson nickel. The clean contours of Jefferson's profile, the finely defined hair strands, the sharp lettering, and the carefully rendered steps leading to Monticello all tell a story about the quality of the strike. Strongly struck examples reveal remarkable craftsmanship that can disappear quickly through circulation, making well-preserved pieces especially desirable among enthusiasts who appreciate both artistry and historical preservation, rather than simply the coin's age alone. Beyond ordinary circulation pieces, certain 1953 nickels have drawn attention because of fascinating mint-made characteristics and production anomalies. Collectors closely examine possible repunched mint marks on qualifying examples, doubled lettering, die cracks, die chips, off-center strikes, clip planchets, and unusually bold strikes that escaped quality control decades ago. While many unusual-looking coins simply reflect wear or damage after leaving the mint, genuine mint errors remain highly sought after because they offer a glimpse into the manufacturing process and remind collectors that even precision equipment can occasionally produce unexpected results. One of the greatest thrills in numismatics comes from the possibility that an ordinary-looking coin may reveal something extraordinary under careful inspection. Imagine opening an old family coin jar inherited from a grandparent or searching through a handful of change from a neighborhood store, only to notice an unusually sharp Jefferson nickel dated 1953 staring back at you. Moments like these fuel the excitement of coin collecting, because remarkable discoveries often begin with something that nearly everyone else overlooked without a second glance. As interest grows, conversations naturally turn toward value, but every experienced collector understands that condition, rarity, authenticity, eye appeal, and verified mint characteristics determine a coin's true worth. Illustrative market examples sometimes place minor but collectible variations between approximately $2,500 and $3,500, while especially attractive high-grade pieces might reach around $5,000 under favorable collecting circumstances. These examples are not guarantees, but simply realistic illustrations showing how dramatically quality and rarity can influence collector demand. The latter becomes even more intriguing when unusual mint anomalies enter the picture. Verified production abnormalities have occasionally inspired illustrative values near $6,000, while scarce collector favorites with exceptional appeal may be discussed around $7,500. Exceptionally preserved or uncommon examples can sometimes be illustrated around $8,000, and unusual discoveries attracting intense collector demand may approach approximately $8,500. These figures remain educational examples rather than promises, because every coin must ultimately stand on its own merits in the marketplace. At the highest end of the storytelling ladder, extraordinary or historically significant examples with remarkable preservation, exceptional eye appeal, or highly desirable certified characteristics have sometimes inspired illustrative discussions approaching $9,000. Discovering a coin worthy of that level could feel like finding a down payment on a home tucked inside an old coin album, experiencing a sudden windfall from loose pocket change, or witnessing a once-in-a-lifetime discovery that transforms an ordinary afternoon into an unforgettable memory. Yet responsible collectors always remember that documented authentication and current market demand determine actual value, never excitement alone. If you decide to inspect a 1953 Jefferson nickel, begin with patience instead of assumptions. Compare its weight with official specifications using a precise digital scale. Observe whether the familiar copper-nickel color appears natural and consistent. Study the strike alignment for unusual characteristics. Examine the rim shape for signs of genuine mint production rather than damage. And carefully inspect every letter for authentic doubling instead of wear-related distortion. Small details often separate an ordinary coin from a remarkable collectible, making careful observation one of the most valuable skills any collector can develop. Professional authentication remains one of the smartest investments when a coin appears unusual or exceptionally well preserved. Experienced grading specialists can determine whether an apparent error is genuine, whether the surfaces remain original, whether cleaning has occurred, and whether the overall condition justifies premium collector interest. That expert evaluation protects buyers and sellers alike, while providing confidence that remarkable discoveries are supported by careful examination instead of hopeful speculation, an essential step whenever significant values are being considered. Somewhere inside a forgotten dresser drawer, an aging coin album, a dusty coffee can, or even the loose change resting in someone's pocket, another 1953 Jefferson nickel could still be waiting for the person willing to slow down and truly look. Most will remain ordinary keepsakes, but every now and then an overlooked treasure reminds the collecting world that history has a remarkable way of hiding in everyday places, and the next shocking coin waiting to rewrite expectations may already be closer than anyone imagines. Second coin 1962, United States Jefferson Nickel, a standard circulation coin composed primarily of copper and nickel, entered American commerce during a period when millions of people handled nickels every single day, without imagining that one ordinary-looking coin could someday become the centerpiece of a collection. Featuring the enduring portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his historic home, Monticello, on the reverse, this 5-cent piece quietly reflected stability in American coinage. Produced before the major design refinements that would come decades later, the 1962 issue captures the classic appearance collectors admire, with its smooth metallic luster, balanced proportions, and familiar inscriptions that have become symbols of everyday American history. Although enormous quantities were struck, surviving examples tell remarkably different stories depending on how they were treated. Most entered circulation immediately, picking up scratches, dull surfaces, and worn details from years of pocket change, vending machines, and cash registers. Yet a tiny number escaped heavy use, preserving sharp architectural details on Monticello, crisp lettering around Jefferson's portrait, and glowing original mint frost. Those unusually preserved survivors remind collectors that rarity is often created not by low production numbers, but by decades of survival against overwhelming odds. Look closely at the coin's design and subtle characteristics, and its appeal becomes even stronger. The copper-nickel alloy gives the piece a cool silver-gray appearance rather than the warmer tones seen on copper-rich coins. Strong examples display clean hair detail above Jefferson's ear, bold facial contours, and clearly defined steps leading to Monticello's entrance. Collectors often become fascinated by the smallest differences in strike quality, because every tiny detail can reveal something about the conditions inside the mint, when the coin was created more than 60 years ago. Behind the scenes, the presses responsible for striking 1962 Jefferson Nickels operated continuously to satisfy the nation's growing demand for small change. Dies gradually wore down after thousands of strikes, meaning later coins sometimes appeared softer than those struck earlier. Minor adjustments, pressure variations, and normal production wear created subtle differences from coin to coin. Most variations are completely ordinary, but every now and then an unusual combination of manufacturing circumstances produced a piece that immediately captures the attention of experienced numismatists. This is where the mystery begins. Some collectors spend decades searching bank rolls hopping to uncover an overlooked example showing strong strike characteristics, attractive original surfaces, or intriguing mint-made anomalies. While dramatic errors remain genuinely scarce, possibilities such as doubled lettering, die deterioration effects, off-center strikes, or other authentic mint mistakes continue to inspire careful examination. Every search carries the excitement that the next nickel could reveal something unexpectedly special hiding in plain sight. Stories from the collecting community often fuel that excitement even further. Imagine opening an old family jar of spare change, expecting nothing more than ordinary pocket coins, only to discover a sharply preserved 1962 Jefferson nickel unlike the others. That moment of uncertainty, followed by careful research and growing optimism, captures why coin collecting becomes so addictive. The emotional journey often matters just as much as the final value, because every coin carries a history that connects generations through everyday commerce. Market values depend heavily on authenticity, condition, eye appeal, and genuine mint characteristics, so no amount is ever guaranteed. As an illustrative storytelling ladder, a minor but desirable variation might attract interest around $2,500 to $3,500 under favorable circumstances, while an exceptional high-grade survivor could reach around $5,000. An unusual authenticated mint anomaly might approach $6,000, reminding collectors that condition and legitimacy always outweigh excitement or speculation. Continue climbing that illustrative ladder, and particularly desirable collector pieces with outstanding preservation or recognized rarity could be discussed around $7,500, while exceptionally preserved or uncommon examples might approach $8,000 in the right market. Certain unusual authenticated finds with especially strong collector demand have been imagined around $8,500, and extraordinary or historically significant examples could reach up to about $9,000. These figures are only plausible examples for storytelling, never promises, guarantees, or predictions, because every coin must stand on its own merits when professionally evaluated. Finding a coin with that kind of potential could feel like discovering a sudden windfall, covering a meaningful down payment on a home, or experiencing a once-in-a-lifetime surprise hiding among ordinary change. Yet experienced collectors understand that patience, careful study, and realistic expectations are essential. The greatest reward often comes not from the dollar amount itself, but from uncovering an authentic piece of history that somehow survived decades unnoticed while passing through countless hands. If you examine a 1962 Jefferson nickel, do so methodically and responsibly. Verify its weight against official specifications. Observe the consistent silver-gray color expected from its copper-nickel composition. Inspect whether the strike appears properly centered. Study the rim for complete and even formation, and look closely for genuine letter doubling rather than damage caused after circulation. Magnification and good lighting are invaluable, but even then, professional authentication remains the safest path before assuming any coin possesses unusual rarity or significant value. The next time you receive change from a store, hear old coins rattling inside a forgotten drawer, or inherit a dusty collection from a relative, remember that remarkable discoveries rarely announce themselves at first glance. The most extraordinary treasures often disguise themselves as the most ordinary objects, waiting patiently for someone curious enough to notice the smallest